Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Gladiator today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Finally have one of the games that's been on my radar for quite a while. The remake of Lords of Vegas. In this game, you're trying to get the most points, and by doing that, you are building up your lots into casinos and making them big and all to score points to have the most points at the end. You can even set off the game early by getting to 90 points. So, as part of the setup, each player will have their color. They'll start out with two cards that immediately give them two lots on the board for parking. And then those cards will go into these slots over here so that players know what casinos are more likely to pay out over the course of the game. So, no one pulled any Tivoli Concepts cards. Building that is probably going to be a good strategy. Once that's done, players will get an amount of money equal to 20 minus the die values on their starting lots. Yellow starts with prime real estate, right on the strip. They're only going to start with 8 million. Meanwhile, red's starting out kind of crappy, but that means more money. So you take 20 million and you subtract the die values, and that's how much you get. Setting up the game over card, you'll divide the deck into 4 piles and put the strip card on fourth and put the other 3 on top. So there's a hard limit to the amount of turns in the game. And then a random player is going first. So, every turn you will do the following before you take any actions. Draw a new card. Get a parking lot marker on the space where it shows. So F9 goes over here. All players will then get an amount of money equal to the number of parking lots they have. So blue will get 3. And everyone else is going to get 2. Having parking lots is a guaranteed way to get a little bit of money, but it's so little that you want to eventually try to build up to casinos, which we'll get into. After paying parking lots, anyone with a casino of this type will get money and points as follows. Let's say see here. Say blue and yellow built over here. They both built into Tivoli. So money goes to everyone with stake in that casino. So blue has 5 pips, they get $5. Yellow has 2 pips, they get $2. If you have more dice, then you'll add them all together. Points goes to the boss of the casino. The boss is the player with the color of the highest value. So blue is the boss. They get to move their scoring marker. It's a nice little airplane. 1, 2. Eventually, it'll get to a point where you're going to need to have bigger casinos to get past the breaks. So let's say we're here. We've got 2 square casino. Full Tivoli. We're only going up there. Something that can help with points as well is raising your casino. You count the top tile plus every raised tile, every riser tile, and that counts. So this is worth 4 tiles. So 2, 4. If you have multiple casinos, you will score them in order of smallest to largest. One of the cards that might also come up for scoring is the strip. Strip scores every casino with an edge touching the Las Vegas Boulevard. So the strip would score this casino. After scoring a money, card goes to the pile over there. Then you get to take actions. Let's go ahead and put those away. Take them back for demonstration later. So first, you can build. If you have the parking lot, you can spend an amount of money shown. So spend $9. You got one too many. And build a casino of any type. Has to be has to have tiles available. And once you do that, you return your marker. You set a die there equal to the initial die value. And you're now building that casino there. From there, you can sprawl. So, first off, you have to be the boss of the casino. And currently, blue player is currently the boss here, so they can sprawl outward. It's a bit of a risk, though, because if that card comes up later, that die gets replaced with whoever drew the card. If you're very lucky, you'll draw that card, or it'll be in the bottom corner of the deck. So what you do is you'll pay twice the cost to sprawl into that space. So there's 6, 12, 12 million. And then you have to sprawl of the same type. So if there aren't enough tiles of that, then you won't be able to do it. And again, we'll place the die of the matching number. If your hotel already has risers on it, you'll have to pay an additional 15 million per riser that your current casino has. So if you are sprawling from a casino that already has a one riser, you'll have to pay an extra 15 mil to ensure that the place you're sprawling into is at the same level. Right. I'm going to go ahead and leave these here for demonstrating the next part. You can remodel. You might be looking at the various casino brands available and what's available out here in terms of what's likely to get hit next. You might decide, I'm going to change the color of this, I'm going to change the brand of this. So, first off, you're going to have to be the boss of the casino, and blue currently is. And you'll have to spend 5 million per actual casino brand. So that costs 10 million. Now, let's say I did that while someone else, let's say they were here. Let's say I changed to that while someone else was already using that type. And now we have two of the highest value dice in that casino. What's going to happen is there's going to be a shakeup to decide who's the boss of the casino. You'll have to resolve it immediately. To remember, blue is here and yellow is there. You can always use markers to hold the place of your dice when you're rolling them. They'll roll off. Okay. So blue came out on top. They are the boss of that casino. Period. Unless Someone pays to reorganize. First off, you have to have a die in the casino. So let's say yellow wants to reorganize. They have to pay 1 million times the number of pips in that casino. So there's 8, 11. Yellow spends 11 million if they have it. Then we'll put reminder tokens to remember where dice are. So they're only rolling one yellow. That should be enough. And roll the dice. Alright, so if there's a tie for the most, then the highest value are going to roll off. Again. And there's still a tie, so it's got to keep getting done. Hey, it was a hefty bet, but it paid off. Yellow is now the boss of that casino. So when it scores, they're getting the points. You can only do a reorganization attempt for a given for any given dice once a turn. But you can attempt to do multiple reorganizations as long as they're different dice. And if you have the money, it is very expensive to reorganize unless all the dice are going to be cheap. So stuff that's starting out like in the back fields here, it's probably going to be easier to try to reorganize there. Another strategy you might keep in mind is maybe let's say you're the only person here, but you have a very low number. As a defensive measure, you could spend that, 2 million because of the two and reroll and either get a better defense or completely make yourself even more vulnerable. Then there's another action, there's raise. So before the up expansion for the original Lords of Vegas, you're stuck with whatever, tiles you could muster to beat the breaks. But what you do now is raise up the level of your casino to get those points without risking it on the sprawl. It costs the boss. The boss has to be the one that does it. 15 million per tile, and you're limited to raising your casino to a level equal to the number of players. So counting the top tile as one, it's currently at level 2, and the most you can get is to level 4. It's very expensive, but it gives you a way to get past the higher level breaks that are going to slow you down. Finally, you can gamble. Let's say Blue wants to gamble in Yellow's casino. Yellow's the boss. They can't say no, especially because they're going to have the advantage. So what you can do is bid an amount of money up to all the money you have and roll 2 dice. All right. The result of 5, 6, 7, or 8, you lose your money, which is 20 rolls out of 36. So, of course, the house is going to have the edge. So the money goes to that player. If you roll anything else, though, say you bet that 3 and you roll 3. So you'll get that much money from that player. If you roll a 2 or a 12, you will get twice that money from that player. You can only gamble once a turn, but it's a way to get some extra money when you think you might need it later. Or if you don't have enough money to do anything important, but you see someone else does, and you want to slow them down, the only catch is your likelihood of success is 16 out of 36. But because that risk is so between success and failure is just small enough to be worth considering, you might consider it. Finally, okay, so I've gone through all the actions. Something else you can do is trade on your turn. You can trade money, parking lots, dice with other players if they agree to it. You can also do actions on your turn as part of that trade. You cannot promise actions on future turns as part of it. And there's limits on other things as well. Yeah, you can't trade points or casino tiles or risers. Just money, dice, parking lots. And what you're going to do right after trading, before you end your turn. At some point, you'll run out of stuff to do, and it's time to let the next player take their turn. They'll go through the same process. Draw a card, new parking lot, pay parking lots, pay those casinos, and eventually you'll get to the card that ends the game because it'll say game over. Pay and score the strip. You'll still pay any parking lots as well. So yeah, parking lots, casinos on the strip. Once they're paid and scored, that's the end of the game. Player with the most points wins. In case of a tiebreaker, it comes down to who's got the most money. There's no tiebreaker outside of that. So hopefully you don't end up in this weird situation of being in a tie for money and points. It's entirely possible that the game can end because multiple players get to 90 points. In that instance, the player who would have the most points would win. Presumably, after you crack 90, you can then uh, go along the bottom edge to figure out how far you'd be ahead of 90. And again, if there's a tie, it'll come down to money as well. So, why do I like this game? Why has this been on my radar for a while? Because it's wild. You don't know what cards are coming up. You don't know how the dice are gonna go. It's there's money and messing with people, and it's it's just awesome. It's crazy fun because when it comes to dice rolling and property and money and random cards, I would rather play this. Yeah, Lords of Vegas, it's back. The base game's got the up expansion, so they've got the they've got it going up to 6 players now. There's more expansions as well, including a set that replaces the paper money with actual poker chips, which money as poker chips or poker chips as money has been a thing we've been doing with our games since I don't know how long. I know it started with Power Grid. I was playing Power Grid at a convention. And it's when I first saw, oh hey, they're using poker chips instead of the paper money. But the paper money does look nice. I'll give them that. I kind of miss the old Lords of Vegas money where they're represented with the various Vegas acts. But it's still, I like the way they themed it to the casino types. Yeah, Lords of Vegas, check it out. Have fun. Roll responsibly. All right, this has been Pillar Nexus, and I'll see you next time.